Hi, my name is Philip Carr-Gomm. I've been asked by the Pagan Earth Alliance to make this film for their website and to answer some questions that they've asked me. Whether pagans should be interested in the environment, whether it's really as bad as people say, and what they can do about it. So I'm going to try and answer some of these things. For the last 32 years, I've been leading the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. It's the largest Druid organization in the world. We have members all over the world. Next year, I'm handing on the leadership role to Emma Burke from Ireland. And over the last 32 years, one of our major concerns has been the environment. And the particular environmental crisis we find ourselves in today is not the news about it. It's not news for us. 47 years ago, the Club of Rome published a report that alerted the world to the impending crisis we now find ourselves in. That's almost 50 years ago. And 32 years ago, we started the campaign for ecological responsibility. And this campaign worked to raise awareness about the environmental situation and what pagans and everyone can do to be of help. And we also started a tree planting program, encouraging people to plant sacred groves of trees all around the world. So why should pagans be concerned? Well, because I think that goes without saying. We love the earth, and the earth is at risk. We're going through a mass species extinction event. Just yesterday, the United Nations published a report pointing out how desperate the situation is and how many species are at risk. And there are people who say that the human species is at risk of extinction too. So that's why we should care about it. Even if we don't care about humans carrying on living on the planet, we should care about the animals, the plants, the trees, and all this beauty and wonder that is at risk. Paganism, Druidry, is an embodied spiritual approach. It's not a spiritual approach that denies the value of the physical world or that is trying to get to some other state. No, we love the world and we want to preserve and protect it. Is the situation as bad as some people say? I think so. It's very, very, very bad indeed. And basically, the reason why it's bad is that 5 runaway trains are moving towards us at the same time. People say, oh, in every age, people say it's a dangerous time and a difficult time and all the rest of it. This time it's different, I have to say. This time, these 5 runaway trains really threaten life on Earth. And they are climate change, species extinction, mass species extinction now, habitat depletion and pollution, climate change, overpopulation. And all those 5 factors come together to represent the threat that they do. There are people who say that it's too late, that we've gone beyond the tipping point. And there are people who say, no, if we get our act together, if we start doing things, we can change life for the better and we can turn this around. So that's the position I think we should adopt. It's the optimistic, the hopeful one. If you follow the path of despair and fatalism, then you're no good to anybody, not least to yourself. So then the question comes, okay, so what do we do? A spiritual path like Druidry says there are 2 worlds, if you like, 2 realities. There's the physical outer world. There's the world that you do in the physical, the work you do in the physical world. There's also the work you do at the level of consciousness. And magical philosophy and understanding says that consciousness is primary. Consciousness is causal. What you do in the realm of magic, in the realm of consciousness, in the realm of ideas, then filters down into the physical world and makes changes in the physical world, which is why we believe in the value of ritual and of ceremony and of magic. So this opens up a whole field for us to work in, a practical field and a magical field. Let's deal with the practical field first. Our campaign for individual ecological responsibility, it's a mouthful, has been designed for the last 30 years to encourage people to take individual ecological responsibility, which means doing things like eating less meat, reducing the carbon footprint, driving less, flying less, and so on, to reduce our carbon footprint and to not litter, to use less plastic. There are all sorts of things we can do, and I'll give a link to our website on that. But of course, now this work is very widespread. You can find lots of resources for how you can be more ecologically responsible. Our project we widened to include corporate ecological responsibility as well. So that means being responsible in one's work situation, whether you work for yourself or for other people, trying to introduce ecological and environmental concerns into that, and lobbying other commercial interests to be more environmentally friendly too. Again, that's become a popular thing now, thank heavens. And finally, political ecological responsibility. And up until recently, you would be forgiven if you thought that you could have no effect on the political environment. But what we've seen with the Extinction Rebellion movement over the last few weeks, really, is that individuals coming together can have an impact. And as a result of Extinction Rebellion's protests in the UK, the Labour Party and the Scottish National Party have agreed to declare a climate emergency, which is fantastic. So we shouldn't give up hope. We should engage in slacktivism, which is, petitions, petitioning for environmental change, but also demonstrating, for exerting whatever influence we can at a political level. That's important. So, and in the Druid training that we undertake in the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids, we encourage people to choose their passion, to choose what it is that they really are attached to, whether it's trees, the purity of water and of the seas, of marine life, whether it's the purity of the air, whether it's the purity of the soil, whether it's a particular animal species that they feel passionately about. Whatever it is, put your energy into that. Give money to that. If you can, help in organizations that work to protect and preserve that particular species or element. All these are practical things you can do. And then supremely planting trees. Druids are lovers of trees. Druids, the word druid comes from dru, which means oak, id, which means witness or wisdom or knowledge. Knowledge of the oak sage, the forest sage, the lover of trees. And as Druids and as pagans, we love trees, we worship them, we understand them as allies, as friends, as mentors, as guides, as our salvation. And I mean that literally in the sense of our salvation, because they exude the air that we breathe that allows us to breathe. So we are totally dependent upon them. So we worship them and love them. And we believe that they love us too, and that we're in a symbiotic relationship with them. And deforestation is one of the tragedies of the modern era. How do you counter that? By planting trees. If every person who watched this video planted 10 trees, some videos that I do get 5,000, 10,000 hits. Imagine it was a video that got 10,000 hits and every single person. I know it's unlikely, but what if every single person really took this message on board? And out of those 10,000 people, everybody planted 10 trees. That would be 100,000 trees planted. It's incredible. You can do it for $1 a tree. I'll give a link to that, onetreeplanted.org. We'll plant a tree for $1. Pay $10, send it over on PayPal after you've seen this broadcast, and you can have 10 trees planted for you. So maybe this one broadcast, if enough people see it, can help to plant thousands of trees. And this initiative of planting trees is probably the single most important thing. That's what David Attenborough says, and I think this is really true. Just plant trees, please. So that's outer practical work. But what about inner work? If you have a mystical, magical approach to life, then you understand that working in consciousness is valuable too. And so what as Druids we do is we withdraw in our inner world, in our meditations, to the sacred grove. This wonderful place in the other realm, which just like in the physical realm, is a clearing in the forest, a sanctuary. And of course, if we're lucky, we can actually sit in a physical one as well, and then also enter the inner sanctuary of the sacred grove. And from this sacred grove, we make connections with the trees. We open our spirits to the trees, and we ask for inspiration. We ask for energy, because we need energy to work in the world. Environmental work, spiritual activism, activist work is depleting if we don't resource ourselves at a spiritual level. And so we go into the sacred grove and we feel the roots of the trees beneath us. We feel the energy of the earth beneath us. And we allow that energy to feed our subtle bodies. And we breathe in deeply, and we allow the energy of the air and the sky to flow into our bodies, so that the energy of the earth meets the energy of the sky within the center of our beings. And then we connect to our brothers and sisters, the trees. We open to their inspiration. And we breathe in the oxygen they're giving us. We breathe in the essential oils that their leaves exude. We breathe them into our beings, and we feel their love for us. We're open to their wisdom, their guidance, their advice. And then we place our hands on the earth, and we send our love to the earth. And we send the peace and the calm and the light that we feel flowing through us into this sacred grove, onto the land. And we ask that the earth might be blessed, that our lives might be blessed, that life on earth might be preserved and protected. So I hope this video has been helpful to you, and if you have ideas for initiatives, for projects, do share them with us all. Thank you.